this one we planted is all good, or father good. When you even people that have diabetes, they even rush. Doctor used to tell them that they should go for father instead of those white one.
Perhaps with more efforts in ofada rice production, the Gateway State has a future among states contributing to Nigeria's foreign exchange earnings in the world of agriculture.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News.
A national communion.
Hello there, it's time for Weekend File on the NTA. We are live in Abuja. Record has it that over 821 million people across the globe were food insecure in 2019, primarily driven by conflict and social unrest. The World Food Programme estimates that this number could exceed 1 billion, given the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, extreme weather conditions and economic shocks, as well as job losses, declines in remittances and disruptions to supply chains and trade. Attaining food security in the country requires a collective and urgent collaborative action between the public, private, non-profit and development sector to feed our most vulnerable, increase farmers' productivity, reduce the high rates of post-harvest losses, enhance value addition and local processing, and ensure market linkages. Essentially, the need to increase the availability and affordability of food in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. A lot is being done in that regard anyway by relevant authorities, particularly the federal government. We have two guests tonight. Kabiru Ibrahim, the president of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, and Uche Godwin, president, Maize Growers, Marketers and Processors. They will guide us into areas we need to know on the matter, while detailed reports from across the zones will enlighten us further on our topic tonight, ensuring food security in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. I am Kenan Ima Aburiken. First, the news. The federal government is working out modalities to assist rural farmers with affordable vehicles through cooperative groups to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic and other variables on food security. The Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs is leading the new initiative and has held an interministerial meeting to that effect. Mitari Iben tells us more.
Access to markets, especially cost of transportation, is said to be taking a toll on the price of foodstuff and the income of farmers. Now, the federal government, through the Ministry of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, is introducing a program that will mitigate difficulties encountered by rural farmers and other SME groups as part of the efforts to lift millions of Nigerians out of poverty. In collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the private sector, thousands of buses under a hire purchase arrangement are to be rolled out.
The whole essence here is to ensure that our rural folks have access to decent transportation facility. And now that there is a slight adjustment of the price of oil, PMS, we do recognize some Shylock businessmen who decide to take advantage. So once this is realized, we believe it will do quite a lot to stabilize the price system for the benefit of our people.
The project is to be launched by President Buhari as soon as modalities have been put in place. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now, the co-chair of Bill Gates Foundation, Aliko Dangote, and other development partners have commended Nigeria's proactive response towards flattening the curve of coronavirus pandemic and sustaining the laudable gains of polio eradication. The development partners made the remarks during the 2020 primary healthcare review meeting between the officials of Kaduna State government and development partners that was held virtually at the Government House, Kaduna. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
This time around, the annual review meeting to take stock of achievements and challenges faced in the year on the quality of healthcare services rendered to especially pregnant women and children was attended by almost all the relevant stakeholders from within and outside Nigeria. Some of the major partners such as Bill Gates, head of Global Fund Maria Kroa, participated virtually from their respective countries, while the Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ehaneri, Emir of Zazzau, Chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum Kaide Fahimi, and Aliko Dangote also joined from their respective locations within Nigeria.
This is crucial to ensure continued delivery of primary healthcare services. Our new realities teach us to consider other sustainable options to drive coordinated, not just for the period of the pandemic, but beyond.
Despite the impact of COVID-19 in all over Nigeria, I am encouraged by the efforts of Katsina State.
The participants lauded the quick response and adequate measures taken to protect citizens from coronavirus, as well as effort made in eradicating polio out of the health space of the country.
Your Excellency, Your Royal Highness, Honorable Commission, Kaduna's entire health team and its many partners, congratulations.
Governor Rufai enumerated the gains made generally in improving on healthcare services.
The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the fragility of our public health system. We are using the opportunity of this pandemic and the extra resources we are getting as support from donors to strengthen our healthcare system as a whole and prepare for the next pandemic by the grace of God.
The stakeholders' engagement ended with new resolve and commitment from the development partners to bring in more support to Nigeria. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The Nigerian military has been commended for restoring peace and normalcy in the northeast region of the country, which over the years has been bedeviled by Boko Haram insurgents. Global Amnesty Watch, in collaboration with Civil Society Organization of Nigeria, gave the commendation at end of post-Boko Haram assessment tour of the Northeast. Simon Asha tells us more.
Is the devastating effect of Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast region of the country resulted in destruction of lives and property, with displaced people in search of a living. The narrative has speedily changed, with the intervention of Nigerian armed forces, restoring peace and hope to the affected communities, as people now go about their socio-economic activities, devoid of any fear of the unknown.
We have actually achieved a major breakthrough when it comes to the issue of insurgency in other states. Our hope is that these things have come to stay.
The success story necessitated the post-Boko Haram Peace Assessment Tour by the Global Amnesty Watch in conjunction with Civil Society Organization of Nigeria.
The military have recaptured all local government councils in the state, hitherto taken by the insurgents, and freed all captives, and the state has remained peaceful till date, while law and order have been restored.
Peace have returned to the northeast region, most especially Adamawa State.
In Yola, Simon Asha, NTA News.
We now go to infrastructure, where the new approach which engineers and the Regachukun Bridge have adopted in fixing the first portion of the bridge which caved in is yielding desired result. Abdullahi Mohammed reports that one of the latest approaches was to reduce the water density on the transition bays.
Being an environment where water meanders 365 days, and the fact that the damage to the bridge came at a time when water levels were at their peak, the engineers are treating the base of the bridge with a cocktail of defense mechanism to safeguard it against the impact of water. After a series of layers of boulders and concrete to fill the transition base, a basket of an iron rod is now being laid where casting will follow to serve as a buffer against the negative effects of rainfall on the base of the bridge. With the pace at which the engineers are fixing the damaged portion of the closed bridge, reopening it may not be far away. The alternative bridge, which is in use now, also begs for attention, but it is the saving grace for now. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NT News.
In politics, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Ondo State has flagged off its governorship campaign ahead of the October 10 governorship election. The party's governorship candidate Eyetayo Jegede, while receiving the party's flag, said his mission is to ensure that poverty and hunger are no longer problems in Ondo State. Abiola Rio reports.
The PDP rally brought together party stalwarts from across the country who came to affirm their support for the candidacy of Eyetayo Jegede in the Ondo State governorship elections. Presenting the party's flag to the candidates, National Chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, and the Governor of Oyo State, who doubles as the Chairman, Ondo PDP governorship campaign, Seyi Makinde, appealed to the people of the state to make the right choice by electing the PDP candidates, saying the state had lacked substantial progress in the last 4 years and requires a visionary leader like Eyetayo.
We want freedom for the entire Southwest. We expect you, the great people of Ondo State, to consolidate on that victory for PDP. For the youth, there will be industry, there will development.
Other party leaders said that PDP should be given the opportunity to govern Ondo State again, urging the electorate to come out en masse and cast their votes for the PDP come October 10. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
The election bid of Pastor Osagie Izeyamu of the APC has been endorsed by a group known as Friends for Simple Agenda. The group is made up of eligible voters who are in different trades and occupations. Ogochukwu Kaona reports.
A man like this, who knows everybody, who knows what politics is all about, who knows what running a government is all about, we will be safe.
Basically because of his simple agenda, we are supporting him.
Pastor Izeyamu commended the people for their confidence in its manifesto.
Simple agenda, the solution to our problems. And these are the problems I looked at. And I came up with a simple agenda. Something that I believe will be simple enough for people to remember. So that when I'm in government, you also continue to remind me.
Meanwhile, Oedo local government has taken its turn in the APC ward-to-ward campaign. Members of the APC campaign train were in Amegbe Ward 2, Sakwamba Wards 9 to 12, New Benin Ward 6 to 8.
It is time for you as landlords to serve the red card to the tenant. And as you can see, even before you reminded him, what you're asking for is in his paper.
Pastor Izeyamu visited the Enoje of Urolo, Jackson Igbinogene, in his palace to seek his prayer and support. He also had audience with members of Iyekoba Youth Association. In Benin, Ogochukwu Kaona, NTA News.
Away from politics, the NTA 2 Children Virtual Representation Grand Finale has taken place Annie Daniel reports that winners will be smiling home with mouth-watering prizes.
Paper presentation is in two categories for children between ages 8 and 11 and between ages 12 and 15. The topics were on issues surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. NTA2 management says the initiative is to give children a platform to speak out as well as gain more knowledge on the issue.
Hear how children share their own experiences as they stayed within the COVID-19 era and had experienced tremendous levels of skills.
COVID became a phenomenon that linked the world. Young people now have a heightened awareness about global issues.
At the end of the day, if you don't speak out, psychologically, this thing will bring you down.
The keenly contested competition had a total of 10 participants who displayed a high level of intelligence and knowledge.
I use this period to achieve so many things which they are not taught in school. Some of the achievements include participating in household washing and cleaning activities.
Nigeria is a developing country. Online classes is good for the future, but it has some disadvantages.
The competition is expected to produce 3 winners.
Prizes will be presented on Monday by 1 p.m. at the Postmortem Hall, NTA2 Lagos, to the winners. They'll be invited because you cannot present a product virtually. So they'll be invited, and of course, we will adhere strictly to COVID-19 protocols of social distancing.
The NTA2 Channel 5 online virtual children's paper presentation is the first in the series. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Thank you, Annie. Now, our 2 guests tonight are waiting for the conversation on food security. Kabiru Ibrahim, President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria, who will link up with us via Zoom from Katsina, and Uche Edwin, President, Maize Growers, Marketers and Processors, is with us here in the studio. We have reports as usual from across the zones on our topic, ensuring food security in Nigeria. But that will be after this break.
At Elizade Autoland, we don't just sell quality, we build quality. JAC Motors, assembled in Nigeria by Elizade Autoland. High demand for fleets of JAC Motor brands by members of the public and private sectors. JAC Motors are clearly built with one purpose in mind. They are built to serve. Elizade Autoland, sole distributor of JAC Motors in Nigeria.
Issa too like football on Top Go TV. Sote him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and him family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action wey make sense. Get Go TV decoder wey come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV, live it.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
Star Times channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
Thank you for staying with us on Weekend File. Since coming to power in 2015, the Buhari administration has left no one in doubt regarding its determination and commitment to diversify the nation's economy through agriculture. The ultimate objective is to achieve food sufficiency and security. As President Buhari always insists, Nigerians must grow what they eat and indeed eat what they grow. How far? So far. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo sets out to find out.
All started with the launch of the Anko Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as the Presidential Task Force on Rice, thereby unlocking the potentials of the rice subsector of Nigeria's agroeconomy. Consequently, rice farmers in Nigeria significantly increased to more than 12 million, producing nearly 20 million metric tons of the commodity per annum. Rice import bill was therefore cut down by over 90%, saving for Nigeria millions of dollars in foreign exchange.
I sincerely and categorically say that there is no adjective that is strong enough to thank you for what you have been doing to agriculture and by extension to Nigeria as a whole.
If we sustain the momentum, as I'm sure we will soon be in the league of top rice producers in the world.
Thankfully, Nigerians have now woken up to the fact that it is an embarrassment for us as a nation to import most of what we eat, given the great natural gifts of our country.
There is also the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, now delivering commercially significant quantities of affordable and consistent high-quality fertilizers at the right time to the Nigerian farmer. In March 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the National Food Security Council to, amongst others, continuously assess agricultural policies as well as explore and nip in the bud issues capable of creating food security crisis in the country. However, with the lingering COVID-19 pandemic, food prices continue to surge with the ability to threaten genuine efforts at achieving national food security. At the last meeting of the National Food Security Council, President Muhammadu Buhari reassured the nation that his administration will neither waver nor lose focus in its quest for food security.
The nation thanks our farmers for rising to the occasion and answering our national call. I want to assure you that this government will continue to support these initiatives and many more to come.
However, floods are not helping matters, as recent incidences have adversely impacted on agricultural development. Lives were lost and livelihoods wiped away.
As a government, we will do all it takes to support those impacted by this disaster. Already, we are working to ensure the losses from this wet season are replaced with the coming dry planting season.
And as government rolls out the economic sustainability plans and sets goals for national food security, far-reaching measures have been introduced to boost local agriculture. One of such is the presidential order to the Central Bank of Nigeria that nobody importing food or fertilizer should be given a kobo from the nation's reserves. This, without doubt, holds the promise of hope for the nation.
The growth of the sector leaves no room for complacency. I urge that we all work hand in hand to ensure the protection of our nation's food basket.
But with the COVID-19 pandemic still ravaging the global community and flood waters wreaking havoc in parts of the country, only time will tell if the food supply systems will remain stable. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Prices of food items at Dawa Now Market in Kano State have slightly declined as a result of new farm produce, which forces down the already escalated prices of essential commodities. Yahanaso Hassan Barau reports that middlemen have cashed in to make a brisk business, which further compounds the situation.
Strategic nature of the Wano market makes it a commercial hub for grains business not only in Kano State but the entire country and some sub-Saharan Africa, with a daily turnover of more than 300 million naira. Commercial activities are at their peak at a season like this as market forces push prices of grains slightly lower. Though there is public outcry of high cost of food items in the country, the situation is gradually changing at the market with the influx of new farm produce. Before now, a bag of millet is being sold at 20,000 naira, but now sells at 14,000 naira. Likewise, guinea corn is now 17,000 naira as against 19,000 naira. New maize has forced the price of the old one to 17,000 naira as against 21,000 naira. The reduction in prices of food items at the Wano market are further compounded by middlemen who took over the marketing of the commodities.
And because of speculations, that is why. It's not because of the cost of production. I don't believe it is because of cost of production, because the government had done a lot. Fertilizer, government had provided, CBN is providing a lot of money to these people. Soft loan. In fact, because of COVID, they even reduced the rate of interest from 9% to 5%.
Regarding the price of yam, can say it's okay. With 200 naira yams, one can feed his family.
The Wano market and other grains market like Kwana Dawaki rice market may continue to strive and help in moderating prices of essential commodities despite the activities of middlemen, which constitute a hurdle between buyers and sellers, making prices of food items beyond the reach of the common man. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
All right, join me in welcoming Kabiru Ibrahim, President, All Farmers Association of Nigeria, AFAN, joining us via Zoom from Katsina, and Uche Edwin, President, Maize Growers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen, tonight.
It's wonderful being here.
Thank you.
All right, let me start with the man in Katsina. That's Kabiru Ibrahim. How would you describe the situation when we look at food insecurity right now in the nation? What is your outlook towards that?
There are many challenges. Flooding is going to compound it, but luckily, come November, these things will take shape. A lot of these things that are expensive are going to come down, and we're hopeful that our people will do the dry season farming. So we are very hopeful that the situation will not deteriorate.
All right, that's Kabiru Ibrahim's first submission on tonight's discussion. He understands that there is actually a problem somewhere in terms of food security in our country at the moment. But let's turn to the man in charge of Maize Growers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria. That's Mark Paman, Edwin Uche, right here with me in Abuja. You heard your colleague there, yes. Kabiru Ibrahim from Katsina. He has acknowledged the fact that there is a problem at the moment. How do you react to that?
Yes, first I want to formally align with his comments on the issue of food scarcity and food insecurity challenges we're having in the country as I speak to you now. There are serious issues that has to do with food challenge in Nigeria. We're having issues that borders on food security, which most of us can trace to the COVID-19 challenge. We've been doing this analysis over and over again, and it is a global problem, it's a global challenge. Food challenge is a global challenge, it's not limited to Nigeria alone. And as I speak to you, the COVID-19 had a very negative impact in food production. It had impact in the movement. In virtually everything. Yes. It had impact in the movement of food from the rural area to the urban area. It had impact in the supply chain process. It had impact in the support infrastructure to farmers in terms of availability of agrochemicals, the availability of virtually technical services that advances food production and the rest of it. So when you have gaps existing in these areas, it will adversely affect the output, the production process, and also the cultivation process. But good enough, our farmers are gradually coming out of the challenge. I must say this, because the COVID-19 distanced everybody from the commercial activity globally. So we're all aware that you have to keep away, you have to distance yourself, you have to stay at home, you have to observe some very key issues medically. And as that goes on, production dropped. There was no production taking place, But with the understanding of how best to manage COVID-19 globally, governments and nations are beginning to take proactive steps in also managing food shortage that the COVID-19 brought into play. So today, like most of us are aware, the COVID-19 affected wet season farming. And because it affected wet season farming, it also affected the output we were expecting from wet season farming to cushion the gap in the food, in the food processing, the food availability in the society. So we are looking at a situation whereby if we're able to strengthen, if we're able to come out of the challenge in the wet season farming, in the dry season farming, we'll be able to consolidate on the production coming from the rural area, coming from the farms, coming from the agricultural sector to bridge the gap we're having in the availability of food, in our food security issues. So we were, like the president of AFAN have said, we strongly believe with the dry season farming, we will be able to bridge the gap existing, and also that will help bring down the cost of food and also make food available to our people.
All right, Kabiru Ibrahim, who is in Katsina, we can't reach him at the moment due to some challenges, but we hope to talk to him as soon as he reappears on Zoom. In the meantime, Dr. Edwin is here. You mentioned about what Kabiru Ibrahim has mentioned. We have hopes that things will clear, but we know that for long, smallholder farmers in our country has continued to do, subsistence farming, which is not likely to meet up with our food issues. And we know that the government, particularly the federal government, is doing certain things to, alleviate the situation. Now, you lead a very noble group. What has been happening so far? What are the benefits coming from the government, and how are these things being put into use for us to be a little bit comfortable in terms of food?
First, I want to really thank you for this this question, because to be very honest, it goes direct to addressing the gaps and the challenges we're having and how best the situation has improved. I must tell you, I must commend the federal government, I must commend the President of the Federal Republic for the proactive step he is taking with his team to address gaps and challenges in the agricultural sector.
Okay.
And I must also commend the CBN Anchor Borrow program, which was heavily supported by His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic, which has played a critical role in addressing and supporting smallholder farmers who drive the basis of our agricultural activities at the rural area and contribute immensely in the output, the produce we have today that supports both local consumption and industrial use. I want to look at one particular program in question, the Anchor Borrow program.
The what?
The Anchor Borrow program,
okay.
The CBN Anchor Borrow program.
Borrow program.
Yes. The Anchor Borrow program has played a critical role in addressing the gaps in agricultural value chain. It has supported lots and lots of farmers in the area of rice, in the area of maize, cassava, oil palm, wheat. You can continue to count. The Anchor Borrow program have been able to advance inputs to farmers, have been able to advance technology to farmers, mechanization to farmers, capacity to farmers, finance to farmers, to make the smallholder farmer have a lease of livelihood. That's been able to provide funding, that's been able to scale up, support them at the bottom of the pyramid to help scale up production, which has made life a bit more easier for them. So the Anchor Borrow program is one product of the federal government that I always want to discuss, because It is one of the best government policies that I can tell you we've had over the years. The design and the approach of the Anchor Borrow program has made it possible that for a smallholder farmer to benefit from agricultural opportunity unlike what was obtainable in the past. So the output from the program has made it possible for us to have enough to support industrial use, bridge the gap we've had over the years before the advent of the program, and also give hope to the farmers that more people can come in, grow maize, for example, become self-sustained as an individual, build the economy as a person, come out of poverty, create employment, empower our youth and women, and create opportunities. So the federal government is doing enough. Yeah. It's doing a lot to support agriculture.
All right.
Through the Anchor Borrow program. And also, I also want to mention this. Okay. The Ministry of Agriculture is also doing a lot in providing equipment, providing mentorship, leadership, direction in the area of agriculture. And the Ministry of Trade and Investment is also doing a lot in supporting, the commodity associations, mentoring them to be able to understand how best they could be able to grow these commodities in order to be able to deliver value to stakeholders and make life more meaningful for Nigerians.
All right, I'm happy we're in the studio together. Let's find out how Ibrahim, Kabiru Ibrahim is faring in Katsina at the moment. Kabiru Ibrahim, if you're still there with me, let's find out exactly what your members are feeling as we continue to look at ways of, arresting this ugly situation of food insecurity in our country.
Our people are working assiduously to make sure that there is food available and at a very reasonable price to Nigerians. There is an attraction from the policies of this government of new entrants into the farming community. So we believe that a lot of produce is going to come on in
Kabiru Ibrahim. Hello, Kabiru Ibrahim. So if you can hear me right now, please could you adjust your sitting position? Yes, exactly. Let's see each other. Exactly. Kabiru Ibrahim, yes, you are doing well at the moment. Exactly. Let's look at each other. Don't look at your TV set. Let's talk directly. Talk to exactly. So go ahead. You're still looking there. Talk to me. Yes, go ahead. Talk to me. Go ahead, Kabiru.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Exactly. I can.
I said our people are working assiduously to make sure that there is food more abundant. Mm-hmm. We have setbacks due to flooding and a lot of insecurity, but our people are working very hard to be sure that the country is fed. We have 200 million mouths to feed, and we're working assiduously towards doing that.
All right, I heard that from you, but I'd like to stay with you, some more, because you are based in the north, where, of course, we have lots of agricultural activities, going on in our country, Nigeria. So let's take a broader look at what is actually going on right now. Things may not be okay, but I know that it behoves on you and your members to do well so that as we fight food security, we might be counting our, gains as we go along. So what are we looking at, beyond now?
You see, the flooding is a setback, it's a risk factor to food security, but I told you earlier on that our people are going to do dry season farming. Our people are already working towards doing that to ensure that there is sufficient food in the country.
Yes, I'm still with you. All right, that's Kabiru Ibrahim. For now, he's in Katsina, and of course, he knows what he's colleagues are doing at the moment to ensure that food security is actually achieved in our country. Of course, you're watching Weekend File on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. It's time for a break. When we come back, more reports and more discussion.
We don't almost reach, Abby. Okay. Guys, the mechanic is almost here.
Madam!
So what do you think is wrong?
Madam, no be smart way they worry this your bike. Carburetor and radiator, you don't pafuka. If you want fix am, 50,000.
I guess I have no choice. Give me size 10 Allen Q.
Madam, the top don't spoil now. You need to buy new one. New one at 16,000.
Thanks for the help, guys. I'll be on my way now. For renting your tools.
Do what you've never done before. Find your first with these mega data plans. Dial *777#.
Son, being good at something requires strength. It requires putting in more. That's why the new improved Bonvita is packed with vitality and a richer, creamier taste.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Welcome back to Weekend File. Various intervention programs of the federal government and the agricultural sector, as well as the ban on importation of some food items, encourage the consumption of locally produced commodities and earn farmers more income, and thereby increasing the gross domestic product (GDP) of the country. However, with the much availability of food items in states of the Federation such as Ebonyi, Chika Okorie sought to know the reason for the hike in their prices even at harvest season.
World Bank data 2016 puts the country's agricultural landmass at 708,000 square kilometers, out of which Ebonyi State has 5,538. Little wonder, farming is the mainstay of the people who cultivate a wide range of fruits and cash crops. For instance, the state produces 1.3 million metric tons of rice per annum. Despite bumper harvest this year, access to locally produced food items by consumers appears to be challenging due to artificial scarcity.
Farmers have suffered a lot, especially in this year. This produce we made this period, we have to hold it so that when the time we shall sell it, we shall make gain.
Our farmers in Nigeria are very, very greedy. They are not actually making use of that window which Mr. President has created for them. You can't imagine a bag of local rice costing about 25,000 naira.
The government is doing great, going into dry farming now. I know Ebonyi State has queued into that farming system.
At a time, Nigerians are trying to overcome the effects of COVID-19. Respondents argue that hoarding of food items is least expected.
It tells more on the income of the consumers. In the process of overstorage, most of these goods will get expired.
In order to crash the prices of foodstuffs, stakeholders suggest the option of regulating activities of middlemen. In Abakaliki, Chika Okore, NTA News.
And following the improved security situation in the frontline local government areas of Katsina State, bedeviled by the activities of armed bandits, bumper harvest has been recorded and the availability of assorted food items at various markets in the state. Mohammed Salisu Hawal visited Dandume and some major markets in the state and now reports.
This is Nduma Market, one of the major grain markets in Katsina, as the area is one of the food basket of the state, especially in the production of maize, guinea corn and millet. Prior to the current security challenges, coronavirus pandemic and the ongoing national border drill, the market serves communities of Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Kaduna State, as well as neighboring Republic of Niger. In spite of all these challenges, the area is recording bumper harvest that led to the availability of assorted foodstuffs at Nduma Market.
With the improvement of security, there is increase in foodstuff at the market, as the fresh grains have started flooding the market.
Customers from neighboring states are trooping to the market for the purchase of the grains for retail and domestic purposes.
Paddy rice, last 2 weeks, the price is 18,500. Last week, 16,500. This week, 14,500.
The assumption of many on the increase of price of most of the grains are quite reasonable at Nduma Market. A bag of old stock of maize is sold between 19 to 20,000 naira, while that of fresh maize is sold between 13 to 14,000 naira. Beans, one of the commonly used farm produce, is sold at 19,000 naira per bag as against 20,000 naira. A bag of paddy rice is now 16,000 naira, while 40 measures of the threshed rice is sold at 50,000 naira per bag. Price of millet, which is commonly used domestically, especially in the northern part of the state, is sold at 500 naira per measure, as against 550 naira for the old stock. In Katsina, Mohammed Salis Awal, NTA News.
All right, let's quickly go to Katsina again, where Kabiru Ibrahim is still standing there to talk to us. Kabiru Ibrahim, while we actually appreciate what you and your members in the Old Farmers Association of Nigeria are doing to sustain food security in our country, but what do you think should be done about the hike in prices of some of these food items, even as they come out from the local areas? Kabiru Ibrahim, you can unmute your audio at this point so that we can hear you. Yes. All right, while Kabiru tries to do that, let's quickly come back to Abuja here, where, of course, Dr. Uche Edwin is. I was talking to him about hike in prices of food items. You see, that is where the masses are really groaning. Even when we know the food security is intact, you know, based on what your association and the rest are doing, plus what the federal government is doing, even at state level and local government level, there is still hike in the prices of food commodities. Why is that, and what do we do about that?
Yes, you know, it's still, like I said earlier, it still stems, we're just recovering from COVID-19.
No,
as I speak to you...
Let's shift a little bit away from COVID-19, because food will always be there, whether a pandemic comes or not.
We will not completely rule away the effects.
We're not doing that.
We're not. I must tell you this. Agriculture is time-bound. When you're growing a particular commodity, and for one reason or the other, you lose the season, the output becomes poor. And when the output becomes poor, it affects what goes out there for consumption and use, for industrially and otherwise.
Is there a problem of the middlemen here?
Yes, we also have a problem of the middlemen. So you cannot rule that out. You cannot rule that out.
What do they do, and how do you tackle them?
No, the bottom line there is this. The middleman tends to buy our commodities from the farm gates because they have a lot of resources. They mop up what is there, store up, wait for scarcity, and sell.
Okay, that's a pure business.
Pure business.
But is that Isn't that detrimental to our quest for food security?
Yes, it is, but what the truth there is this. You cannot, this is their business, this is what they do, but what the associations are doing now is strengthening what we call the warehouse system, where the associations with support from the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Ministry of Agriculture, tends to help their farmers procure this at the farm gates, store it at the minimal cost, and also sell to the consumers at a more manageable cost, a more accommodating cost, a cost that the final consumer can be able to afford. You cannot completely rule out the challenge and the existence of middlemen, but with what is going on, for example, in the Anchor Bureau program, where you already have an off-taker infrastructure being put in place to support the procurement of whatever the farmer have grown, it helps to weaken the effect of the middlemen. It helps to open up the markets and allow our consumers have an opportunity of buying this product at a more lower cost. So a lot is being done to address the effects, the negative effect of the middlemen in the market chain.
And we will get there.
Yeah. Yes, surely we'll get there.
I'd like to thank you, Dr. Uche Edwin, President, Maize Growers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mark Paman. Thank you for coming on Weekend File tonight.
You're
also, Kabiru Ibrahim, President of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, who is in Katsina. Thank you for your input tonight on Weekend File. We will take a final break now and return to conclude the program. Thanks indeed for staying.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android, Intelsat 901 degree east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Ministry of Sports to establish Olympic camps in preparation for Tokyo Olympics. Olumide Eguntola